Hey, Quants, let's see what's going on in the market. So, looks like we got some data for inflation. Core inflation rate year over year is down. That would seem bullish. Inflation rate year over year. I don't know. I do remember some people talking about not getting some statistics. I don't know if these just haven't come out yet or if it is will just be reported a little bit later. So be interesting to see how these go. Of course, if we have lower inflation rate, lower inflation rates, and the job market continuing to not hold up so strong, then I think there's going to be some people calling that as a bullish catalyst, and I would tend to agree. If inflation's stagnant and jobs are not holding up, then the Fed will likely step in with some more interest rate cuts. And then, of course, there's always the talk of potentially doing some type of quantitative easing, although some people would have already been talking about that maybe being what they're doing already with the I think it's like $40 billion of capital on a monthly I don't remember if it's daily or monthly basis they're injecting it. Man, those guys just play with so much money. It's crazy. So let's see. Let's get it. So let's just take a real quick look at Bitcoin. Mostly flat here, still, for the last few days, just kind of tracking sideways. Nothing to speak of that is much of much interest. I do think that the inflation numbers could be a catalyst for seeing a little bit more stronger moves in the market and getting out of some of this sideways action here. Of course, hopefully. My hope is that it goes up just because, as I mentioned before, I'm long biased, but eventually the market will break one way or the other, and then we'll probably see some more consolidation. I'm still looking for a nice touch here up of the 200s. And so I did mention when I first had mentioned that a few weeks ago that, that might not happen until Q1, right, for a few months. But and then, of course, those prices would come down before that ever happened. So as it stands, the master strategy is still looking fully bullish. Or fully bearish, but still looking for that counter trend play. I did kind of point out like an interesting idea. Like, would you consider this bullish divergence if you saw this one little bump down here and then this actually turns over? It looks like it is starting to turn over. So if this continues, then we could get some action. Now, at the end of the day, if the oscillator is going up and price is going up, who cares, right? Money, it's going up. The thing is like, can you predictably play that? Just oscillator goes up, so buy. That statistically doesn't work out very well if you back test it, and so that's why I look for other things like bullish divergence, which it doesn't look like we're getting something like that here. Although I did mention I have seen people calling, looking at these things like double bottom play. Well, this wouldn't be this wouldn't be a bullish divergence in that sense, but you could say, well, we have a low on price, a low on the oscillator, and then again, a low on price that is close, but not quite the same as the previous price, but a higher low on the oscillator. And so a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, but I have heard people calling that as like a good way to call double bottoms. I haven't tested that out, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Looks like that's all we're seeing in the markets now. Not really much else to speak of until we get some movement one way or the other. Again, just going to stick with the kind of recent methodology of having smaller videos here, just because there's not a whole lot to speak of. If I see something in particular, I might go into more detail. I do have some other things that I want to get into more depth when I start doing some coding and stuff like that. But as it stands, I'm working on stuff that I want to wrap up before I start like building some content that I might be doing some coding content and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, it will be coming. Just haven't gotten around to building some stuff that I think will be worthwhile demoing here. So hope everyone is doing well, and holidays coming up. I hope everyone who celebrates has got good plans for the holidays. I always love that this time of year. I love holidays time of year. I really like Halloween. That just kind of like I don't know if it's just like setting in the mood for the holidays. But really like Halloween, just a feeling, and it's not Halloween necessarily. It's really the feel of fall, and so Christmas is a good time of year. I like to, we'll generally spend a lot of time with family. So I hope some of you get to do that with your family, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace, Quants.